Well, police can't solve the problem. They are the problem. That quote from an op-ed in the New York Times condemning our law enforcement. This comes as the number of officers shot and killed in the line of duty soars to 33 this year. Joining us to react is former Tucson police officer Brandon Tatum. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us on this topic today. You know, I saw this op-ed coming out after this past weekend, a deadly weekend for officers, and it really was unbelievable and irresponsible. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely ridiculous, crazy, and cowardice to put out an op-ed like this, damaging the reputation of law enforcement. I feel like in this country, it has gone too far. You know, police officers have become the scapegoat of everybody's problems. You know, when you're having a problem, you call the police, and when you are the problem, you blame the police. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's despicable. And if they want their cities to turn around and they want crime to stop, you better start respecting the police officers. You better start respecting them and better start funding them well.
Yeah, and I was going to say, not only are they blaming police officers, they're calling for cuts in funding. A couple portions from the op-ed. One of it says, police officers who primarily put people in cages are the enforcers of mass incarceration. The police are part of the problem, and stop investing money, power, and legitimacy in them. And then another part of the op-ed goes on to say the reality is the police fill prisons. They do not help vulnerable populations. They make populations vulnerable. As a former officer, what do you have to say about that?
This is the verbiage and language from cowards. The primary thing that we need to be focusing on is what needs to change in our communities, and that needs to be the responsibility of the police department. But here's what it is. I don't know why police officers get caught in the middle of this. Politicians are the ones that create the law. Citizens are the ones that break the law, and law enforcement is there to enforce the violations there. So if you don't want people incarcerated, then change the laws. Make marijuana legal. Make some of these criminal offenses that are putting people behind bars, make them legal, and police won't arrest them. But until then, what do you expect? If you want the crime to stop, you have to stop the perpetrators, and that's what the law enforcement officers are out there doing.
You know, we've seen all of these videos recently of officers just being completely disrespected, being doused with water, being yelled and screamed at and bullied. But with your experience, I know that you had said that, you know, when officers are respected, that's when you saw some of your communities that you worked in thrive.
Yeah, because we have to work together. It's like a big family. And the police officers are there to protect and serve. And when people get out of line, we have to do our job. But other than that, we want to be proactive. We want to know what's going on in the community, and we need the people in the community to cooperate. And when that happens, I've been there. I've done that. I've been in the streets. When we work together, we can do a lot of things positively in the right direction, and crime normally goes down. But when you have people that hate the police, they don't want to cooperate, they have this code of not snitching, it's making the communities unsafe, and it's making it worse.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people haven't understood that by this point. You should respect the police officers, and we can work together and make it happen. But if you don't want to do that, you're going to end up with a poor and a bad city.
Yeah, dangerous for the communities and dangerous for the officers as well. And as we wrap up, I want to bring up the two pictures of the police officers who lost their lives just this past weekend. Our thoughts and prayers with all of their colleagues and their family and friends. Thank you so much for joining us, Brandon. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.